Recaro, BBS, Donut Media, Car Throttle, what do they all have in common? Well, besides the fact that we're getting more and more bad news every day, I want to tell you why I think the Recaro and BBS insolvency is probably a bigger deal than you think.
I don't work at Donut anymore.
If you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Alex. This is usually not how I film these videos. I'm just sitting down having some coffee here this morning before I got into the day, but I realized that this is a super big deal. I've been involved in the aftermarket automotive industry forever. So when it comes to things that are impacting the aftermarket, like parts world, it obviously kind of just strikes a chord in the back of my brain. And there's been a lot of news out there. We've seen the news of BigTime, the people that are leaving Donut Media. We're learning that James Pumphrey also announced officially that I think we all knew that he was leaving Donut Media as well. We're learning that Nolan Sykes is going to be taking up his position. We learned that we've had additional insolvencies and bankruptcies in the last just couple days, things like Recaro and BBS. But this has a greater picture. For those that don't know, Recaro and BBS declared insolvency just literally a couple days ago. Recaro, founded in 1906, BBS founded a billion jillion years ago, just kidding, 1970, both of which based in Germany. Now there's a couple things to get in terms of speculation out of the air. Recaro Automotive is not all of Recaro. Recaro Automotive is just one core segment of the Recaro family of things. They make airplane seats, they make gaming chairs, they make chairs for offices and everything in between. So when we talk about Recaro in this video, we're just talking about the aftermarket seat. When we mention BBS, we are mentioning just BBS Germany, because BBS has actually gotten in trouble with insolvency a lot lately. I think in the last 2 decades, they've declared insolvency 5 times: 2007, 2010, 2020, 2020, 23, and now 2024. So why is this a big deal? Well, Recaro declaring insolvency was kind of a shock to everyone, including the people that worked at Recaro. Not even the employees knew that there was going to be a declared insolvency by their own company. These are people, right about 200 workers or so, that didn't actually know that this was happening. And so when this notice went public, it also went public for the employees, which is really shitty. With BBS as well, guess what? It was also a surprise, which is, I don't understand it. Now, I've been in the part building companies for years. My send-offs are terrible. I've done it before, I've been a part of this in the past, and so this is a very relatively what I would call like big company thing to do. They don't tell their employees, they hide it, and the hopes is that you can maintain production up until you declare insolvency, and then once the insolvency is declared or the bankruptcy is declared, you usually see a really heavy drop in production. Now, word on the street is that for the BBS folks in Germany, these folks haven't gotten paid for May or June either. What the hell does it have to do with Donut Media and Car Throttle and things like that? There's been loads of riffraff on the internet of private equity companies buying things up and kind of just ruining shit. Come in, they put their dirty little dick beaters into things, that's kind of a weird phrase, and they just kind of mess things up, because what they wanna do is they wanna take a formula that's 1 + 1 = 2, and they wanna turn it into 1 + 1 = 4. And they wanna do that as fast as possible so that when they flip the company in 5 years, they can say that they made more money. Now, a lot of times when you buy a company, and most companies are gonna get bought out for an EBITDA multiplier based on, well, how much money the company is making. Back in the past, you would see common aftermarket companies getting sold for anywhere between 5 to 8 times EBITDA, meaning that if you had $1 million after the fancy formula, these private equity companies would buy you for $7 to $8 million. They put it into a nice little package deal. They try to keep the executive team on for 2 years, and then after that 2-year period, most of the executives would leave. That private equity would put new executives in for the remaining 3 years, cut cost, cut lengths, cut everything, cut employees, and then for the following, at the 5-year mark, they would go and sell the company. That is why private equity does what it does in 2 minutes or less. So in 2020, Recaro was bought out by a private equity group. This was an American supplier, private investment firm known as Raven Acquisitions. This is really important because this is gonna start to tell the story that you're going to see get applied to a lot of different cases that are happening in the aftermarket automotive segment right now. 4 years, it's been 4 years, almost 5 years on the dot. And there's 2 options a lot of these private equity companies can make depending on what country that they're in. They can either hold on to it and then try to do it for another 2 years in terms of let's try to cut costs and make it a more appetizing business to buy. Or option two, they wipe their losses and they say this wasn't a good buy and they move on to the next one. In this specific case, the second one is what happened with Recaro. Now, Recaro is saying that it's because of a major distributor project got halted, and they're saying that, oh, well, some of the reporters and journalists are claiming that it's because of replica seats. I really don't buy any of that shit. What I believe and what I think I feel confident saying to you guys is it's very, very simple. Private equity company came in, tried to make more money. 2020, there was free money everywhere, and turns out that it didn't work out. BBS is in a different kind of weird situation too. Declaring insolvency after being owned a billion different times by a billion different companies is a really crummy place to be. BBS and BBS USA and BBS Japan are not the same entities. During some of the previous insolvencies of BBS, because they seem to do this like every time they pass go, they declare insolvency for some reason. In one of those insolvencies, BBS Japan actually ended up picking up the motorsports division and a good chunk of their forging processes, whereas BBS US really just retained a lot of the national selling rights to the BBS name. They obviously have more than that. Craig, Jesse, and the team are incredible folk of people, but in terms of how much control BBS US has in this situation, it's pretty much zero. BBS Japan, BBS Germany are the two big dogs. It didn't work out. They're declaring insolvency, and the person that gets is like the worker, like the little guy, the person that's been trying to keep this thing afloat in Germany. Those are gonna be the folks that are gonna get just the shortest end of the stick in this entire situation. Why am I talking about this on a Thursday morning while I'm trying to drink my coffee in front of you like this, which is odd enough as it is? Because it ties to what's happening with the donut medias. It ties to what's happening with the car throttles. It's tying back to what's happening in the aftermarket segment, which we've talked about a billion times, especially with the start of Martini Works. It's happening all around us and it's getting worse. In 2020, there was a million different acquisitions. The Wheel Group got acquired by Winchurch Invested. It's a massive aftermarket company that makes wheels. And if you want to know what kind of brands that they make, they have over 8,000 active independent installers, regional retailers, e-commerce and wholesale distribution channels, and 20 distribution locations. They own Ion Alloys, Mayhem Wheels, Cali Off-Road Wheels, Turin Wheels, Mazzy Wheels, Dirty Life, AMP Tires, Max Sensors, Mr. Lugnuts, Metal Lugs. You look over here, Pritzker Private Capital signs definitive agreement to acquire Highline Aftermarket and Warren Distribution, another massive aftermarket automotive company. Guess what? In October of 2020, you go to Kohlberg and Company signs definitive agreement to acquire a majority stake in Parts Authority, another massive aftermarket automotive company. Guess when? 2020. NPW thrilled to announce its acquisition of All Products Automotive headquartered in Chicago. Their deal closed on October 16th of 2020. The list goes on and on and on and on. There's so many of these situations where companies were either bought in 2020 or mid 2021 that are absolutely, probably 100% the wrong purchase to make. And 4 to 5 years later, we're seeing the repercussions of bad private equity decisions getting made. And you're seeing people that are looking at this situation and it's impacting them, specifically here in America, and they're saying, off, I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm gonna go do my own thing. The commercialization of being a car enthusiast is at an all-time high. And there used to be a level of respect between the two parties. People like me who sold parts on Martini Works and people like yourself who bought the parts from Martini Works. And the respect was even playing field. It was, we help educate, we help entertain, we help talk about things, and we help make sure that what you're getting is the right thing for your car. You get the car part, the customer service, and hopefully a good ass experience knowing that you got the thing that you wanted to do so that you could enjoy your car. It was fair. In, out, equal, together. And for something along the way, something got really screwy in 2019 and in 2020, where all of a sudden, these people that do not give a rat's ass about aftermarket car parts, they don't give a shit about the people that have built these companies from the ground up for decades. They don't care about the fact that this is a hobby and it's not a necessity. These huge PE companies come in and offer a ridiculous amount of EBITDA, and these owners, they can't say no to it because the number is just so freaking big. So they say yes. They take this money that they know their company's probably not worth, but it doesn't matter because the private equity company doesn't care, and you are one penny in a sea of pennies in this situation right now. And now we are here 4 years later with companies declaring insolvency, declaring bankruptcy. You have personalities leaving massive YouTube channels. You have people that are finally saying that they've had enough and they're starting their own thing. And that's what's happening in the aftermarket space right now. If you're wondering why you see your personalities, your favorite personalities starting up their own new thing, it is always, almost always gonna be contingent upon something behind the scenes in the corporate world happening that is telling them that they can't do, they can't say, or they can't act in the way that they believe they should for an authentic experience with you. Now, I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth. I love BBS, we run BBS, and I hope that they continue to survive. Recaro is the same situation. I want them to survive. I don't think it has anything to do with replica seats. I don't think it has anything to do really with replica wheels. I think it has everything to do with mismanagement and with private equity companies coming in and just everything up, just absolutely ruining it. And the point of this all, the whole reason I'm talking about this is because I want you to at least be aware that this stuff is happening. I'm in a really weird space. I would never call myself an influencer. I would never call myself even a content creator. My goal has always just been to bring people along for really cool rides. But I'm not gonna hide behind the fact that the whole reason I'm even able to do this is because we have Martini Works and we have a team that gets to come in every day and make videos and help people find car parts that work for them. And when I see these companies trying to take and take and take and take and take, and then they lose, a part of me is kind of sad, but a part of me is also happy because that money shouldn't be in this industry. Private equity should go stick to what they're good at and should stay out of this industry entirely, because I have seen iconically, historically, statistically, objectively, whatever term you want to use, it has never panned out in a positive direction ever. And I don't think it ever will, because car enthusiasts are crazy. They make no sense. Their business model has absolutely no foundation. You are taking a car part off that works perfectly fine and putting another car part on that works objectively worse because it's chrome or carbon fiber. None of this makes any sense. And for the fact that private equity companies are trying to come in here and say, hey, that chrome thing shouldn't be $10, it should be $20, those people should get fucking bent, because at the end of the day, it's not fair to you and it's not fair to us. So that's my TED talk on why I think the BBS Recaro thing is a bigger deal than just the fact of another news article about another company declaring bankruptcy. And I don't think it's just gonna end here. I think it's going to keep going, and it's going to keep happening, and you're gonna see more and more companies pop up in the next 6 months that are gonna say the same exact thing. They're either declaring bankruptcy, personalities are leaving, or something in the middle where they're resizing or restructuring their company, and they're gonna start using ChatGPT and AI generative fill and fake ass images for everything to meet their marketing demand because they fired their entire team and they just wanna make more money. And that, to me, in my opinion, rips the absolute soul of what it means to be in the aftermarket automotive space. It rips the soul out of what it means to be a car person that just loves the industry for the industry, that loves the community for the community. And those people, in my opinion, are bad people. But let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. This is probably the closest to a conspiracy theory I think I've ever gotten in my entire life, and I don't think this is gonna be the end of it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm AlexMartini. Hope you subscribed. I'll be in the comments listening to what you have to say, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.